Hello, Assalamu alaikum and good evening. Welcome to another episode of the Classics Show. I am your host, Shabnam Riaz. Today's topic is something that's really fascinating and it's really interesting, and I'm sure you're going to really love it. We're going to talk about art and spirituality and how artists have been able to, depict the expression of something that is so close to people's hearts, of our religion, of, Sufism, mysticism. And we're going to be talking about all this with our guest, and today we're very happy to have with us in the studios once again Mr. Faisal Niaz, who is a senior corporate person and an artist by passion. Thank you very much, Faisal, for joining us.
Pleasure to be back.
Right. I'm sure the viewers are going to love today's program because, when we talk about mysticism, spirituality and Sufism, many people are attracted toward this, but maybe they have not been able to understand the reason why and why these things are so appealing. So my first question to you is the influence that art has with religion, spirituality and Sufism. How strong is that, and is it vice versa? What's happening?
Yes. As long as people are getting more associated with Sufism, art which is related to Sufism, and we'll talk about the Dervish paintings, it's wonderful. Even if it is as a fashion that they are coming to it, they're starting to understand it.
There's an association that's being built.
So that's starting to build. And lately you have seen that it has become more of now a trend that you will see more of these Dervish paintings coming up, which is wonderful. At least they've started getting interested into it.
Exactly.
And the association of this Sufism with our culture, and especially with Islam and how it is associated, is very deep. And now that is being portrayed through art.
Yes.
And for these generations, not many people are now interested reading into books. And a painting can depict so much more, which words otherwise cannot. So I'm very happy about it that association, that link has started to establish now.
We're going to have a look at some of your paintings as well, a bit, we just after we introduce the topic and that. And, it's as you very rightly said, there's something about a picture or a painting that honestly does say 1,000 words. I mean, that saying is it will never be obsolete because that's exactly how it is. Now, as we talk about Sufism and the greatest Sufis, especially in this part of the world, and, their influence, they wrote poetry. Their poetry till now is timeless. And art also is poetry.
Absolutely.
It's poetry on canvas.
Absolutely.
So how would you say, you approach, because landscapes and other sorts of paintings, there maybe take you through a different journey. How do you approach a spiritual painting?
So there are landscapes, like you said, and you can make flowers and nothing taking away from that, and that has that aesthetic value to it. But when you want to touch somebody spiritually, and you want to touch the soul, then you have to go into a different kind of an area. And nothing better than the art associated with Sufism. Now, there is one way, which is the simpler way, is the calligraphy.
Right.
Names of Allah and the words and of Quran, but the other way is the Sufism. And Sufism has been associated, thanks to Rumi, with music and with dance.
The whirling dervishes.
The whirling dervishes. Now that is the big example, starting right from the 30th century.
Right.
Where Rumi, one day, just to share with you, so it is said that Rumi was roaming through the streets of a market, and he heard the banging of a goldsmith working with his hammer on the gold. And that hammering to him was, he found it like a zikr. Now, zikr is what they do when they are whirling about it. And it is said that Rumi heard La ilaha illallah in that zikr.
Right.
And just out of the trance and just getting involved into it, and he started swirling in that beat.
Right.
And that is from where that whirling thing came into the beat.
Okay.
So the Sufism, through the poetry and through the music and the dance form of Rumi, has now become such a huge thing that now, after what started in 13th century, people who were not knowing about it have not started to learn about it, and they are passionate about
And
it
they're
now.
fascinated.
They're fascinated
and in fact,
about
in
it. Absolutely.
Abroad as well.
Yes,
In the US, he's one of the most, sold poets.
In
over there.
2008, this form of art has been recognized by UNESCO as a form of spiritual art. So it's not only in the Muslim countries, but world around, people are now getting this feeling.
There's this magnetism towards it, isn't it?
There's trance, that giving everything away and being associated with with God and His oneness.
Again, when we talk about the spirituality, we see that in the age of materialism, the age of consumerism, where, gadgets are just, a dime a dozen, and you just never know what is coming out next, and you set your sights on something or whatever it is that, you want to achieve in life. Many people are sort of, becoming more inclined towards the spiritual because you feel they have, this saying that is common amongst them. They say, we felt that something was missing.
Yes. That's the ultimate goal. That is the ultimate goal of a dervish when he is dancing.
Exactly.
Dervish is not a name. It's the explanation of a zikr.
Okay.
What is a dervish? Dervish.
Okay, I'm going to just cut you off right now. We're going to have a look at your painting.
All right.
Right,
okay.
and this is Faisal's painting of a dervish right now that we're going to show you. This is the calligraphy, but right now, after that, we will show you the dervish, which we there now.
So you
can see, Tell us about, talk us through that, Faisal.
So you see, this dervish is whirling around. Now, people associate to it as just a dancing routine. It is not. It is
so much more.
It is a whole way of a prayer, a religion. What this dervish is doing is basically, now, like I was saying, that dervish is a person who associates himself, who makes this vow that he is going to remain poor. He doesn't have anything, he has no materialistic needs or materialistic desires. At times he's allowed to beg also, but he's allowed to beg to only learn humility.
It's all about the ego, isn't it?
He's allowed to beg, but not for himself, but to take and give to the others. And that is the spirit of this dance also. If you notice that there is, that when he's swirling, his right hand is pointing upside, and his left hand is
towards
down.
The earth.
So what he's doing is, he's taking the blessings of the God, and through the other hand, he's transferring them to the people around. And that is what the concept of dervish is all around. All about.
Exactly. And that explains the fascination behind it. Because you'll see something and you may not really understand the whole level that it's at, but something about it is captivating. And then you want to learn more. Okay, the outfit as well. The way they're dressed, that's all symbolic as well.
So there are 3-4 main parts of the dress. The headgear, which is the tall hat. It's usually made of camel skin. So it's now we paint it in red also, but it's usually in brown because that camel skin.
Okay.
And that is symbolic of a tombstone.
Right.
The other thing is the black cloak. When they are starting to dance and they get into the world, they take it off. And that is like that they have given away the materialistic things.
Right.
And then there is the white frock or the whirling
the skirt,
thing.
sort of. Yeah.
Yes. That symbolizes death. But it also symbolizes the freeness and the rotation of the universe. And when they whirl around, they symbolizes the Earth and the solar system. And the persons in the center is considered as the sun, and the planets are revolving around him. So they are symbolizing the whole universe and the oneness of Allah. They start by their hands crossbowed, which is the unity of the God. And in the second stage, they start whirling and they open up their hands, which is then the whole universe and its spirituality.
Fascinating. The white also is symbolic, isn't it? The colour
Very
white.
symbolic.
Yeah.
It's the purity. The Rumi's point of this dance is basically the spread of love. He has some famous quotes about it also. So it's all about love, that it is that the world is about love and giving love.
And another sort of, aspect of the Dervishes is also that, and Rumi as well, the Sufis, that they look forward to death.
Yes, because
That is the union with
to them it is
God.
that the whole world is just not confined to this life, and that is why their life, the Dervish life, is never about the present life. He's there to reach that eternity, that different level, that association with the God. The whole dance is then distributed into 4 areas.
Okay.
So people look at it as a beautiful dance, but it has a very Islamic partitions into it. It starts with the Naat. It starts with the Naat, and the main person recites the Naat, followed by a pattern of drums and everything. Then they have they go around in a circle, and then they take off their black hoods, and then the real swirling starts. Now, in the swirling starts, they have certain words they worship to the God, and in the end, it is ended by recitation of Quran. That is how the whole concept of it is.
Right.
So people now look at it and they enjoy the dancing, but these people are not just ordinary people who are performing an art. They are dervish.
Themselves.
They are dervish themselves, and that's the difference between dervish and a mullah. And that is the difference between the kind of Sufism that is happening in Pakistan, which is another wonderful way of Sufism, which is known as the dhamal, which is done by the dervishes of here, which are known as the dhamals that we see at the mazars. Now, dhamal can be performed by any person.
There's a cultural aspect as well.
There's
here,
a
isn't
cultural
there?
aspect,
Yeah.
but there are all different aspects of Sufism.
Right. Different branches of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So there in Turkey, mostly in other areas, they are known as dervishes. In Pakistan, the Sufism is now taken to other level through the dhamals, which is done at the urs. But their concepts is the same.
Right. Right.
And these all concepts is association with your teacher, and the best part is that wherever part of it, the main teacher at the end of the day, they associate it with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Yes, absolutely.
And that is from where this all Darwish and Sufism and all flourished.
Right. The message of love that Rumi gives, and that Sufism also holds as well. The message of unity, of oneness.
Yes.
That if we suffer, we should all feel that pain. If we are joyful, we should all feel that joy. That's something that is really, really important. And empathy as a whole.
Absolutely.
As a human being.
Absolutely.
How can we work on these things?
No, as Muslims, we are taught right from the start that we are the most blessed ones, and unfortunately, in practice, we are very far away from it.
True.
So we have to start from the very basics.
Right.
And the basics starts from the home, and then from the primary schools. No, I've given this example earlier also. In places like Japan, For the first 10 years, children are not taught academic courses. For the first 10 years, they are only taught mannerisms.
For the first 10 years?
Yes.
That is a
Yes.
long time.
So by the time because 10 is a very symbolic age.
Okay.
Even in Islam, they say that namaz is not become, your child can let go of namaz until the age of 10, but after 10 it is a must. So by the age of 10, the habits develop.
So true.
And we need to develop those habits. And there are no shortcuts to it. But somebody has to start somewhere.
Agree.
We have to now, the intolerance that we see around us, the lack of love. One, we have to start practicing ourselves. We cannot preach something which we should do not ourselves.
That is something I agree with you so much.
Yeah.
We need parents to set the
Absolutely.
climate
So,
in the house.
Yes. So no matter where, in whatever manner you can contribute, and for us, being from the affluent class or we being from the learner class, have a more of a responsibility of to doing it. People say that the social media doesn't have its doesn't have its value. If you can do it on the social media, do it on that. Practically, if you can do it, that's even better.
And every little bit makes a difference.
That's how it is. That's how it is
Isn't
going to
it?
happen.
I think
That is how it's going
sometimes-
to happen.
Yeah, I think sometimes the problem is that we get overwhelmed and we think of something and we think, oh God, this is impossible.
Yeah.
There's no way we can do this, no way we can achieve this. Whereas every little bit does make a huge difference because you never know who's going to be influenced.
Just to give you an example, because I know it's not of the topic, but tree plantation is a difference, and you started it not only by asking people to do it, you started doing it by going and doing it yourself.
Right.
So it has started making a difference.
And I'll tell you, Faisal, it was so satisfying. I felt like I had,
and you have practically make a difference. So yes, not only from words, if we can speak good enough and if we can influence 10 people, but our one good deed will influence many more people.
Absolutely.
So we have to start it.
Absolutely true.
And we are already too late about it. We talk about Sufism and we talk about the Darwish and the spirituality, but we
need to
cannot-
incorporate
Yes,
some
we
of
may be
it.
not be able to reach that level anywhere near to that,
You
but
know,
at least we can learn from them.
So true. One thing I absolutely agree with you. If you have a degree in any particular subject of the highest level, but you don't know how to behave.
Absolutely,
It's
got nothing to
worthless
do with
piece
it.
of paper.
Yes.
And the same way, vice versa. You
Absolutely.
may be someone who does not have a degree or a particular education or anything, but the way you carry yourself, the way you treat other people.
Yes, the empathy.
defines who you
like
are.
the word you use, the empathy, the love, the care for the other
Respect.
people, the respect
Because
for
manners
the
is
other
basically,
people.
what are manners basically? It's respect for
Absolutely.
yourself and respect for the person who is around you.
And like I said,
those are manners.
Our responsibility is much more than the others. People are dependent upon us. We have servants working for us.
Yeah.
Now, one of the quotes from Hazrat Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is that, think about 70 times before you scold your servant. How conveniently we treat them as our servants.
Oh, yes.
Now, I'm just giving one example.
Yeah.
And this is, again, I'm associating it with Sufism. That is what Sufism was all about.
This is the thought.
Letting go of the ego. This whirling dervish concept has only one concept, and that is letting go of the ego, the nafs, and to unite and to associate with the God at a different level. Now, I again say that we cannot go maybe to that different level. We would still be looking at the Vaishyan and saying, what a wonderful dance.
Yeah.
But we can learn from it, make those very small contributions,
Which will make
which
such a
will
difference.
help the society.
Absolutely. We'll get back to this conversation. We're going for a break right now, but don't change the channel. Okay, welcome back to the program. We're having a fantastic time talking about art, paintings and the expressions of spirituality, Rumi and the whirling dervishes, and it's been fantastic having a look at Faisal's paintings as well. We're going to look at them all, the calligraphies that he's done as well, and the whirling dervishes as well. Right now, let's share a poem from Rumi, and he says, you'll get a taste of where he was coming from. And what is said about Rumi is that he never wrote down his poetry.
True.
He was
True.
just, chanting his poetry and
Yeah.
reciting it on the spot
Yes.
spontaneously.
Yes.
And he had scribes that were following him, and they would record it at that time.
Amazing.
And he was he was reciting so much that it seems that it was around about 20 to 25 poems he would write.
Yes,
He would,
in a day.
in
or
a
so.
day.
Yeah.
And that is,
Unbelievable. It's
unbelievable,
amazing.
unbelievable, absolutely. So one of his poems are, if you befriend the beloved, you will never be lonely. If you learn to be flexible, you will never be helpless. The moon shines because it does not escape the night. The rose is scented because it has embraced the thorn.
Beautiful.
What a beautiful thought, isn't that?
Amazing.
That's amazing. And that is the sort of poetry that speaks to your heart.
Yes.
And that's another reason why abroad as well, and in the West, he's
Yes.
become very, very popular.
Yeah. What Rumi did was, and that is where now the generations of today, after so many thousands of years and so, today's generation is now associating with them. Because he thought that music and also different ways of how you can bring your body movements into the spiritual side will bring you more closer to the trance that you're looking for.
Right.
And that today's generation is not into the libraries and those
Yeah.
things. There is more into the musics and into the artworks.
True.
So how far-fetched his poetry and his thought was.
Yeah.
That the generation
So ahead of its time.
so ahead of its time, that
yeah.
today's generation is now associating with it, and it will continue and continue for years.
There's a
years and
timelessness
years. It's timelessness
about his words,
Absolutely.
isn't it? That's
Absolutely.
true. Okay, we're going to have a look now at Faisal's paintings, and we'll start with his calligraphy, I think. So we'll have that on the screen quite soon, and then we will.
But
talk
of course,
about
just
that.
to talk about it, so I make all kind of paintings, and from salsa dances to flamencos, and so I've tried that, because this is all forms of love and all forms of expressions. But calligraphy always comes naturally and something you love doing. One reason is very simple, and that it can be materialistic also, that people love calligraphy. They have that association. So you are
True.
inspired to do more.
Right.
But I recently made these three, which are the best du'as and the best zikrs. And it is said that after namaz also, you do these three zikrs.
Tasbihs, yes.
Allahu Akbar, Alhamdulillah,
Subhanallah.
Subhanallah.
Yeah.
So what better than to draw these three words
Okay.
and place them on a wall somewhere, and somebody is walking by and just read these three most beautiful
Fantastic.
du'as, and these three du'as have everything confined into it. You are saying that the God is great, and you are thanking the God, and you are appreciating the blessings of the God. What else do you need into that?
Finest ways
The
of
finest
worship.
way for. So
Yeah.
I love doing it. I've tried to use as many colors and make it as vibrant as possible.
It is, it
Now,
is.
that is where I like playing with colors, and I never.
And what is the medium that you've used here?
This is a mixture of pastels and acrylics. Now,
Okay.
very few do it. It's either pastels people do, or it's acrylic. So I love mixing both,
Okay.
because I love how the mixture interacts with each other of them.
Right.
For the pastels have their own very interesting fixtures where you can really spread them and play around with them, and the acrylics bring the sharpness into it. So when I start these calligraphies, I really do not have a certain color scheme in mind.
Okay.
They just come naturally.
Okay.
And my concept is, if you look into it, there are a lot of blues and the earth colors into it.
That's true.
Because the blues, the blacks, and
You've got your primary
and the
colours
reds
there,
and the
haven't you?
yellows is
Yeah.
basically the colors of the universe. Right from the earth colors to the vastness of the universe, which is blues and the blacks. So I bring, and then I love putting in pinks and reds into it. Those amazing colors that are found around us.
So these paintings are probably, you know, together, displayed together.
Yes, if you
Yeah?
put them together, they're all in a symmetry also.
Right.
The colors integrate from one painting to the other one. And then, of course, shifted and made a few of the Vesh ones.
Now, how did you start this picture? What came to your mind? What happened?
So,
This painting.
one thing, I like everyone being fascinated by it, but I read about it.
Okay.
So I read what it's the spirituality behind it and what is the whole concept, rather than, like I said, it's just another dance form. It is not. Otherwise, like I said, I made salsa paintings and flamenco paintings, and there is wonderful Pakistani dance like Khatak dance and everything. This is not a dance.
No.
No, this is
No,
not a dance.
no.
This is a
As you said, it's a
different
worship,
level
it's an
of worship
expression.
and spirituality. The right hand and the left hand, the whirling of on the left foot, going around, swirling from the right to the left around your heart. There are so many symbolisms into it.
It's multi-layered,
It is
isn't it?
multi-layered. It is the best, most expressional way of what Sufism is all about. So that is why in this particular paintings, though it's usually in only whites, I've put
You've
as
put
many
so
colors.
many colours in
yes,
there,
I've
yeah.
tried to put as many colors into it because that is what the creations of God is all about. There is so much vastness and so much diversity into it, and that is what I've tried to portray into it. I could have made it into a very simple white thing, but what I was trying to portray out of it was the colors of this universe, the unlimited facets around us.
Right.
And then, of course, capturing the mood of the whirling
Because
dervish.
you've done that very well. And you know, I would say that we're very lucky that you know, I'm one of the people who's on your Facebook, so I am able to see, you know, his work on when it's progressing. Because what Faisal usually does is when he starts a painting, is he starts with the basic sketch, and then he'll tell everyone who's on Facebook, you know, this is what I'm going to start with, and this is how I'm going to try to take it forward. And so that itself is so fascinating.
That's become quite of a trademark
for
of my
us as
paintings
well,
now,
you know, and we're
people
involved
follow
with it.
and they're looking forward.
Yeah.
I get wonderful suggestions, criticisms, which I love. That people, no, you are not doing the right thing with the nose and make it more sharp. And all right, that's wonderful. And then this is another one.
Right.
and
This is
again,
now. This is in a contrast
It
to
is
the
in
other
the
one
contrast.
because this is now white.
Yes.
Okay. So
yes.
what was going through your mind here?
Yes, so I thought, and then that I made first, the colored ones.
Oh, right.
And then I
okay.
thought that I need to now make it in a more simpler, but still carry as much, because I love playing colors. When I do black and whites, but my trademark is that I love having as many pastel colors.
Right.
So I tried that I keep the pastel colors at the back and keep that spiritual white in the forefront as much as I could. And this one I like better than the other ones because here you can see the expression of that person, that he is really involved into it, and he's really swirling, the whole swirling concept, and his right hand and the left hand. So aesthetically,
tilt of the head
I do like this one more than the others.
Okay, I was going to ask you that actually. Which one is your favorite? But then I thought, you know,
the mood more than the other one.
Okay.
The other one looks more interesting, but spiritually catching the real essence, I think this
you
is more
connected
closer
more with
to it.
this
Yeah,
one.
more
Okay,
into it.
right. And here we have the 99 names of Allah.
I have redone this so many times, and
Ajay.
I love doing it many times. And every time I do it, I just make it into different colors. 99 names of Allah is something that I keep whenever in Ramadan, and also on my Facebook, I send it to as many people that make this as your screenshot. And before
Beautiful.
starting your work, just recite the 99 names of Allah.
And again, a fabulous display of colour there.
Yes. That's the whole concept of 99 names. That the 99 names is depicting every aspect of Allah Kareem, the merciful, the great, the
whole
Akhir,
spectrum.
the Awwal, the whole spectrum.
Yeah.
So they cannot be put into, I mean, even if I write them in just black and white, the words are so beautiful, they look beautiful.
Of course.
But I wanted to capture it as much by the colors that the diversity into it.
Okay, right. And we'll have a look at the next one. Okay.
One of my most favorite
yes,
duas,
definitely.
and it would remain. And no matter how, and we at the end of the day, we are humans.
And we have to be, unfortunately, we take things for granted.
Yes. At the end of the day, we are unthankful for so many things.
True.
And getting back to the Dervish, they start off by thanking the air that they are breathing.
Imagine.
They thank the air that they are breathing.
What mindfulness.
Yes. And you just cannot list the God's blessings around us. God forbid, only when you get ill that you find that what a blessing health is for us.
True.
And for us, health is so much at the back, and we are so much involved into how much money I'm making, and am I doing good at my job, and one is my next promotion. Over the time.
So we're living in a sense where we are dissatisfied all the time.
And God says that for this, that فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ, and He says that even all the saints, the Farishtas, are saying that they are praying all this time this verse, that glorification, and we yet do not find time to thank Him enough.
That is absolutely true. Another very important one.
Yes. You see, there are few things.
Yeah.
You thank the God.
Yeah.
You ask for His mercy, and then you pray for all the risk and other things for his life. These are 2-3 things that we should make as our. And as a Muslims, we do it. It's only that we are very weak people, and our conviction at times get shattered at the moment. But it's simple. Thank the God. Ask for His mercy. And you don't have to ask for His blessings. His blessings are always there.
Right, absolutely. And, you know, as I said, the spiritual satisfaction, contentment you must feel after completing work like that.
More than after the completion, it is when people admire it.
Okay.
You see, people admire other paintings also, but I know they are admiring my painting. But when they admire your calligraphy, they are not admiring just my painting. They are admiring that your God words have been put in such a beautiful manner. So this is always have that extra satisfaction for me. It inspires me for more calligraphies that I make.
Right, right. Okay, and right now I think we're going to go for a break, but don't change the channel. Okay, welcome back to the programme, and you know, approaching the end of the programme, we've had a fantastic discussion with Faisal about art and spirituality. We've had a look at your beautiful paintings as well. We've spoken a lot about Rumi, so I'm going to share another one of his poems, and this one goes like this. Who's in the house of my heart? I cried in the middle of the night. Love said, it is I. But what are all these images that fill your house? I said, they are the reflection of your beautiful face. She asked, "But what is this image full of pain?" I said, "It is me lost in the sorrows of life," and showed her my soul full of wounds. She offered me one end of a thread and said, "Take it so I can pull you back, but do not break the delicate string." I reached towards her, but she struck my hand. I asked, "Why the harshness?" She said, "To remind you that whoever comes to love's holy space, proud and full of himself, will be sent away. Look at love with the eyes of your heart."
Beautiful.
Isn't it?
Amazing.
Timeless. It's
Amazing.
classical.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Let me share, if I can quickly find it on my mobile, a small piece of Rumi that he wrote on the Sama, which is the wish. He says that for them, it is the Sama of this world and the other. Even more for the circle of dancers within the Sama who turn and have in their midst their own Kaaba.
Oh, beautiful.
So the Sama associated with Rumi right from the 13th century, and he was the founder of it. And now we see it in the Turkish dances and appreciate it in a different manner.
Yeah,
But it's
beautiful.
beautiful
Sums it up, absolutely. Now, Faisal, you know, as everything is progressive and, of course, in context towards the life and times that a person is living in, how much of this can we incorporate? I think the part of the ego, submissiveness, empathy, this is something we can all work on at an individual level, as we spoke before. What should be done by parents especially, teachers, so that we get our children to identify with these qualities?
Okay, it's frustrating at times looking at the society and the things going around, and I see two different times when the parents' role is very important. Like I said, one is the nursery time to the primary level. That is where the habits are developed, and one good habits are developed into the children, they carries it all around all the time. And I have done numerous seminars into that, how a good leader is made out of habits rather than what he should have and what he should have. It's the habits that make the person.
True.
You have good habits, you're a good person. You have bad habits. So the time where the the child has to learn. But the other important time is when you think that your child has now become responsible of the responsible age.
Right.
I feel that the responsibility of the parent becomes even more and more important. You see that youth around you and the age of 18, 17, 20, the kids on the motorbikes, people going on the internet at that time, the driving, the mannerisms, everything around us. That is where the parents think that the children have become now of the mature age, and we need to stand back now, and they give them to the room. But that is where it is most important to keep eye on those children at that very, very vulnerable age.
That's very true.
You have to have a check and balance on them. Do not give them the complete room that you are inside, the parents are inside their houses and not knowing what their children are doing outside, thinking that no, they are of the mature age and they can take care of themselves.
Just because it's easier
It
as
is
well.
easier
because it's harder to be a parent who is setting rules.
So the primary time to develop their habits, and that strictness of keeping and the extra eye on them at the age when you think they have now matured enough is very important. And then from there, hopefully, their habits will develop and they will be more good of a person for the society.
As we're speaking about habits, you know, and manners and everything, this takes me back to, you know, when reading about and finding out that in the early days of Islam, people were pulled towards the religion because they used to say, who are these people?
Yes.
Look at the way they're behaving.
Yes, it's the behavior, and that is how simple Islam is. Half of the religion is just cleanliness. Half of the religion. Imagine half of a religion is cleanliness, that only if we abide for the cleanliness, we have abiding to the half of the religion.
Imagine.
So it's all about habits. And we have the best book and the best teacher in the world.
Yeah. We just need to incorporate it into our personalities.
Absolutely.
So true.
Absolutely.
Faisal, thank you so much for
Always
being
a
a
pleasure.
guest, and it's wonderful to sit down with you and have a look at your work. And today it's been a different level completely, because it is, as we said, spirituality is something that is so
Thank you.
mesmerizing. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Okay, and with that we come to the end of today's program. Hope you have enjoyed it as much as we have enjoyed it, and so many things to dwell on there, so much food for thought. So until next week, stay happy. Bye bye.